Hello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Taco Tuesday, where we discuss good food, healthy diets, fitness, and everything in between to help you achieve those things so that you can have success in every sense of your being, body, mind, and spirit. I'm Nick.
I'm Rebecca, and our goal with these live talks is to give you some really good high value information. So stay to the end, and we're going to give you some action items so you can put some stuff in place and actually make some changes.
Indeed. If you are with us live on Facebook in one of our groups, give us a thumbs up. Just let us know that you're here. Say hi. Be friendly. Give us a quick thumbs up, though. Just let us know that you're in the group with us. We like to know who we're talking to. If you are not in one of our Facebook groups, you should get in there because we have fun here, and you can watch these talks live and ask questions and be part of the discussion. So get in here. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So guys, guess what? It's March already. Can you believe it?
Damn it.
So
I know, super fast already, honestly.
Yeah, wasn't it just like January 1st, like 2 weeks ago? I feel like I blinked and 2 months went by.
I know.
But this has always been a really interesting month for me because if you think about it, we're still at the beginning of the year, but we've also gotten a couple months away from, the New Year's resolutions and all these really lofty goals. And most people have probably gotten away from those lofty goals. And now we're going to start hearing about bathing suit season and getting your summer bodies back.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because all those New Year's resolutions went to the wayside, right? And the hard part about this for me is that I now know those big, lofty, and super general goals like, oh, I want to be bikini ready by June. That means you have to make some sudden, drastic changes in your life, and it's not setting yourself up for success. And it's also pretty typically defeating because it's not sustainable. So also, it just so happens that routines is the theme of the month for our Clean Club, which Nick and Brandon know is one of my absolute favorite things, routines. And that's because setting routines and healthy habits that are manageable and achievable, those are the ways you get success. I know because I am the poster child for setting these super lofty and hard to achieve goals when it comes to my health and fitness until I met you guys and became part of this amazing team. So let's talk about healthy habits and routines, guys.
All right. Yeah, you nailed that.
Yes, very good.
You know us, the sustainability. And yes, March is, it's an interesting month because it's my birthday and there's all kinds of stuff around that now that I'm not turning 21. But yeah, this time of year, right? We're in the trenches now. Mm-hmm. Right. It's not New Year's resolution time and still patting our bellies going like, okay, Christmas and the holidays were great, but now it's time. No, it's, 3 months in and what's happened. I know, my habits haven't changed a ton since January. Right. So, it can be a tough, kind of get real time of the year for people. And I think that's not fair. I think I think most of us, when we're talking about habits here, most of us are talking about eating habits, either eating or exercise habits, right? That's what most people are concerned about. Sticking mostly to the eating because I think the majority of those people are in the eating boat. That's what most of us are concerned about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tough one for a lot of people, and probably the most important, right? Like, food is fuel. So obviously what we put in our body has a huge effect and impact, but we eat for a number of reasons. And just because, we don't, like, how many people actually look at food and they're like, it's just fuel. Like, all I care about is getting, if it was that easy, right, we'd all be just killing it. Right? It's not that way. We're designed to be, emotionally involved with food. We really are. Yeah. So, that that can kind of work against us just because of our lifestyles and the culture that we live in now, right? We don't have a survival-based lifestyle anymore.
Yeah, and just to tack on to what you mentioned a minute ago, March being kind of an unfair month. We're kind of in limbo between where we want to be and we're not quite there yet, and all those things. This is an emotional time as well. It's just kind of like, especially where I'm at, it's just gray and crappy.
Yeah,
and just everybody's tired of it. So, speaking of emotional stuff, yeah, it can definitely play a role.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think just the time that we've had, like the last 2 years in particular, have been tough. I found it totally interesting. Cap's going to start snoring here. I found it really interesting, not surprising, but interesting. Like what was probably the number one new hobby that everyone picked up as soon as we realized we were in this pandemic and we were all locked down? What did everybody start doing? Baking. Right?
Oh,
baking, making bread. That's what most people.
A lot of people were making bread.
Yep, tons of people were making bread. Right? We're emotionally connected with food, whether we want to be or not. There's no way to pull those two things apart. But I think on the daily, like there's some stuff that we can do to kind of manage that. All right.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely a super common thing. Like it's not like you're not you can't just make a category an emotional eater, right? It's almost everybody does it from time to time.
Totally. Yeah.
The key is being able to catch yourself, right? And to prevent yourself from doing something like overeating, because we've all been there too.
That's a big problem for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I'm sure we all have a story, right? About eating too much or eating when we didn't need to. The question is, do you remember, Brandon, especially, I know you've got a good story. Do you remember the first time that you ate too much?
I remember the first time. I remember where I was standing. I remember how it felt. I remember everything about it. Like I felt like I was dying. What is happening?
Just so everybody's clear, Brandon has the best stories. Okay, that's what I always pull him off.
Don't create the expectation. Now I'm going to choke. I remember I was at my grandma's house, and I was totally talk about the tie between emotional eating and overeating. I was like, ice cream. All about it. And my grandma had like the endless supply, and she had them in like little cups, right? She had these like stacks of little ice cream cups in her freezer that I could just sneak in and grab. So I would just like squirrel off, shove ice cream into my mouth, and like walk back into the room like nothing happened. And I did that a few times. And before I knew it, I had to like step outside. I was like a cat, like a dying cat. I was like just going for a walk. It's like, oh God, I'm just going to go die in a bush. And that was the first time that I did that. And I would love to say that it was the last time. Definitely not. Like, you enjoy eating. And so I think if you hold back and control yourself too much and exhaust that willpower, the floodgates open and you do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics because, at the basis of human experience, emotions is what come from the experiences that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many people, and I think probably everybody, tie food and experience and therefore emotion together. And that notion isn't bad, right? It's not a bad thing to have.
Right.
But when you begin to cover up or cope with a maybe not so good experience or a not so good emotion, and you begin to use food as a coping mechanism for those things.
It's the go-to.
That's when it becomes maybe not so good, right? So emotional eating means that you're eating for reasons other than for hunger. You may might be stress, could be maybe you're lonely, maybe you're bored, could be depression. How many other people are stress eaters? Like I'm definitely a stress eater.
Totally.
And I know that I'm not alone there.
Totally.
And I crave sugar, basic sugar, like my PB&Js are my stress food, and like pasta, mac and cheese, those things are my stress food for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, like we're talking about routines, something that I used to do when I'd come home from work, I'd come through the door, and as soon as I came through the door, I'd open up that refrigerator.
Yep.
That
Decompress.
was speaking of routines
Yeah.
can be bad too. That was a routine,
Yeah.
right? So it used to be a really bad habit for me. And honestly, it still happens from time to time, but I now have the ability to catch myself and stop myself from maybe going for something and that maybe isn't so good, and instead try to break the trigger by, you know what, turn around, go back outside, go for a short walk. It doesn't always happen, but you know, it's important to have the abilities to do those things. It can be any numerous amount of things to break that initial trigger. The point is, food can be distracting, right? It can be soothing, and it can pull you away from what's really bothering you. So if you're an emotional eater, you may not listen to your body's natural hunger cues and fullness signals, and you might end up overeating or binging. And it's common. It's, you know, it's okay. And you probably eat more than you should, right? And the key is don't beat yourself up, because that's not going to help anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the part that I think is the biggest thing. It's like that whole guilt cycle.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, emotional eating can really can interfere with pretty much your whole life.
It can really get in the way. Absolutely.
Definitely. And needless to say, like, just since we're talking, you know, we're on Drop the Fat Not the Tacos podcast, it can get in the way of getting you to a healthy weight and staying there. It can intrude on healthy routines that take you to the place that you want to be when it comes to your health and fitness.
Oh God. Yeah. I think that's why so many people are here. Right. That's it. But yeah, I think that guilt cycle really keeps people stuck in that place. Right. It's this, like, the stress of it, and the, like, this feeling that you can't eat what you enjoy ever. Right.
Right.
This cycle of, you know, the pendulum, right, of never eating what you want to eat and then only eating what you feel like eating, you know, and kind of swinging back and forth between those things because your willpower gets exhausted. Right?
Yes.
So actually, on that note, I have a question for you guys. If would food as a reward be considered emotional eating too? Because a big thing that used to catch me up all the time, that I'm sure lots of other people tell themselves, is, you know what? I deserve this. I deserve this brownie, this ice cream, this bread, whatever, to just not make myself feel guilty because I wanted the ice cream, I wanted the brownie. But then I deserve a treat happened all the time because I did my workout today. I deserve a treat. And
it's slippery slope. Slippery slope, right? I mean, it's all associations. Yeah, I try to really stay out of that boat. I mean, everyone eats for reasons other than hunger once in a while, and really, I personally feel like emotional eating is kind of an unfair label. I mean, eating by nature, again, is attached to emotions. Right? We're designed to, you know, get irate and aggressive when we get hungry, right? And we're designed to be soothed by food because of its obvious necessity. So things that are necessary for, you know, for our immediate survival are pleasurable, or at the very least alleviate stress. So, you know, when we wait too long, deny the urge to eat for too long or whatever, we become emotional, and then we eat, and this guilt is created, and because we feel like we ate for the wrong reasons, when really we probably would have been okay and stayed out of that pickle if we just eaten when we were supposed to in the first place. But to answer your question, sorry for the tangent. That food as a reward is a dangerous spot, I think, because people, as soon as it becomes a reward for everything. Our lives are stressful.
Yep.
And if you're constantly rewarding yourself, you know, just for, you know, doing the dishes, right? And sometimes at the end of the day, when it's been a crazy, stressful day, doing the dishes is like, you know, feels insurmountable, right? You feel like you deserve a reward after that, you know, and so I think we have to give ourselves different rewards. I think that's a big thing.
100%.
And I think we have to recognize what we really truly deserve is bigger than a frickin' brownie, right? What we really deserve is to feel good in our skin.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not even saying that the brownie is wrong. If it's time for a brownie, go for the brownie. But if you're like, if it's going to make you feel guilty, then we got to break that cycle. If you can truly eat that thing and be like, yep, worth it. Zero guilt, I say go for it. Personally.
Well, and a really easy way to have no guilt is if instead of giving yourself a reward in the moment for something stressful is now on Friday evenings, thanks to a certain someone I know who likes to indulge on Friday evenings and tells me about it as I'm sitting here eating my healthy food, I now give myself a treat on Friday evenings. And I get one treat on Friday evenings. I look forward to it. And it is still my reward, but it's a planned reward. So I don't feel guilty because I've eaten all this super healthy, yummy stuff during the week and not let myself go. So it's having those habits and routines that keep you from just jumping in and going, well, today was really stressful, so I'm just going to eat this brownie and it'll make me feel better. And then you start the cycle of guilt all over again and you feel worse than you did before.
Right. And having just that little bit, like, I did great this week, here's my treat. But I know a lot of people will go overboard and they give themselves a whole day or the whole weekend or the whole cake, whatever. And that can upset pretty much everything. It can completely break the cycle that you've started and you have to start from scratch. And we're not only talking about calories here, we're talking about the mindset behind it and the addiction. It is the addiction that it creates by rewarding yourself with that food. And like Brandon was saying, every time that you do something little, boom, I reward. I deserve a reward. And you don't even have to cognitively think about it. It just happens. There's something in your brain that's triggered. It says, I need this.
Yep.
Because you've been giving it to it for so long. So,
yeah, it's all upstairs, right? It's all in the brain, right? That reward's not happening in your stomach, right? It's that reward is, the body is, especially when we deplete our willpower, when we are forcing ourselves to do shit we don't want to do all the time, right? The brain starts going, hey, throw me a bone, right? Like, life sucks right now. Like, and our first go-to is always food because, again, we're wired that way.
And it's quick, easy shot of dopamine.
Requires no
Give me that sugar. Yep. Zero sugar, zero effort at all. Yep.
When it's really funny, like if you can get up and move, right?
Yep.
Same effect on the brain.
Yeah. And it lasts longer. And then you get to see a little bit more result. There's a lot more reward behind doing that.
Zero guilt, right? Pride, right? You can be proud of it. I mean, there's so much. Yeah. But
so many things. Yeah.
But that's when we least feel like doing it, right? We've already done all the hard things. I don't want to do another hard thing. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
Yeah.
We didn't cover like signs of emotional eating, but I think we touched on.
I think we covered that.
I think we're pretty good. Yeah. There are obviously obvious red flags, but I think we all know for the most part what they are, right? If you don't know what they are, feel free to reach out and ask, and we can certainly help you identify.
Right.
And kind of on the same path of emotional eating and eating because you're stressed is something that I've struggled with that I have to really put some good things in place to avoid is snacking. Because when I get into the mode of snacking because I'm bored, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, when I'm anxious, I will eat everything around me. And those choices that I make are terrible choices. And I'm not thinking about what I'm putting in my body or how much of that fat or that whatever, that sugar, whatever I'm not supposed to be eating into my body. And then all of a sudden, I've had a whole bunch of carbs, I've had a whole bunch of sugar, and then it went crazy without me even knowing it. So a way to prevent that is to keep a food journal, which I started doing. And every time I ate something, I wrote it down. And one day I was like, holy crap, I ate a lot of garbage today. Good way to keep it in check.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you might not have even felt like it. That's what we see a lot of the time. I don't think like food journaling, like over a long period of time is like a sustainable thing, but it's a great thing to like raise our kind of awareness, right? How many times have we done it with people and they're like, ooh, I thought I was being good. because
And the
I
thing is, we
only
don't.
have a piece of chocolate every once in a while or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. We don't do it often, but when nothing's changing, it's like, well, hold on, let's take a step back and just look at the big picture here. Let's do a little track. 3 days, maybe 4
Yeah. Right.
at most, right?
Mhm.
And then it's like, whoa, it can be really eye-opening.
Yeah.
Now I'm on the other side. I think that snacking can definitely be beneficial, but as you said,
Mm.
Rebecca, like you gotta keep it in check. You gotta keep it in
Totally.
check. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's one more habit and routine that I think everybody should get into that I'm going to take the lead on, because I've really gone through the experience of understanding the need for a routine around movement for myself very recently. And it was quite honestly the single most key to my success was having a set schedule and a routine around movement and exercise. So let's talk about that before we go.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that a lot, and we're just going to continue doing it because, yeah, as a routine, it's too big to ignore, right? And I think a lot of people will tell us that, yeah, I get my steps in, or
All the time, man. It drives me nuts. Like, great. I'm really happy for you.
yeah, it's
Not
fantastic.
enough.
So you're really good about that, still not getting what you want, right? And,
Mhm.
yeah, everything has to fall somewhere in the, challenging but doable, range. And I think that's the important part. And I don't think you can create a habit out of something that you freaking hate. That's just too far on the challenging end, right? Like, so many people are like, I'm going to start getting up at 5. I love this one. I'm going to start getting up in 5. Okay. Number 1, miserable already. Right? I'm going to start getting up earlier. So they're not saying I'm going to go to bed earlier. I'm going to get up earlier. Right? So I'm going to lose sleep. And then I'm going to go do something that I hate, probably, and
right when I wake up.
Right when I
Because
wake up.
somebody else told me I should do it. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And, I get it. We got to fit it in where we can. That's the obvious place. But we've got to do things that we enjoy, or at least something that's stomachable, right? And that we can build on, right? Rebecca, right? Like, we started out like 1 or 2 workouts a week.
Yep.
Remember your first one?
I do.
You were like, this is hard. But
I know.
3 weeks later, you were like, I gave you the exact same workout, and both you and Kyle were like, oh, I'm killing it. Right.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Getting started is the hard part. And for me, my motivation, my big lofty goal was every year, I'm going to be bikini ready by summertime. And I would have this picture of this woman who was sculpted and probably spent years looking that way. And that's what I'm going to look like by the time June comes around. And I didn't look like that. So getting myself motivated to work out was really hard. Getting myself to move was really hard. That you had a conversation with me once about this very, very, very simple and easy rule that I tell myself all the time, or at least I used to get myself into the routine of working out. I think you should share that.
Yeah. The 5-minute rule is my favorite.
Good one.
Yeah, it's hard to do. Like, if you just commit to 5 minutes, right? Then there's no pressure, and it just kind of gets the ball rolling, right? Because that's what we do, right? We think so. We do this short term and long term. I have to go to the gym for an hour and a half, right?
Sounds almost way too long, right?
Right. Again, we're convincing ourselves to do something we really don't want to do and feel like we don't have time to do. That's not going to be sustainable. So, so I use the 5-minute rule in a couple of ways. I know I'll feel better if I move, right? So I don't have to commit to like the treadmill or something horrible. I'm just going to commit to 5 minutes of whatever movement I feel like. Could be
walking's one of my favorites for this. Yep. It's great. Just keep people out the door.
Yep. I've got a big hill behind my house. I love it. It takes me 5 minutes to walk up it. It's super steep, but I get this amazing view up at the top. That's my reward.
There's a reward. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so, I never regret it. every time I do it, I never regret it. And it's funny. I just told myself it takes 5 minutes to walk up that hill. It literally takes me like 20 minutes to walk up the hill probably. But I just tell myself like, I'm just going to walk out the door for 5 minutes. And if I feel like turning around, I'm going to come back. And then I use it, the other way I use it is, when I feel like doing something, that I know I probably shouldn't do, like eat something late at night, usually I give myself 5 minutes. Okay. If I still want to do this in 5 minutes, I'll come back and do it in 5 minutes. Yep. Right. And sometimes it almost always passes, but sometimes half an hour later or something, I get to that like, oh, I still kind of feel like doing that. And you know what I do? I tell myself, okay, I'm going to do that in 5 minutes. Usually it's another half hour. And before I know it, I'm like, I'm getting in bed.
Too late.
Yeah. That 5 minute rule is just super powerful for me.
Yeah. So many ways.
Do anything.
It's great.
But I think that's our big issue is that we think that setting a routine in place means the whole routine, like the routine that, the person who has the body that I want to have or whatever, like I'm going to take their routine and put it into my life. Right. And it's just ridiculous. we have to work our way up. So 5 minutes is a good start. That's a good way to start. And then, before you know it, you're crushing the workout that you did 3 weeks ago. You feel like adding something on because now you feel good. Right. Mm-hmm. Rebecca, you guys started with those 2 little workouts. And
that we could barely handle. And now here we are.
Cursing me. Yeah. And then, now you're doing 2 workouts on Tuesdays alone. Right. So I don't know. I'd love to know from people who are watching or listening, maybe something you need to think about. But what is it that you really want your health to give you? Right. We have to stay emotionally connected to our routines. I think. What are your goals?
I agree, 100%.
I know you do. But I think deeply about what the changes, you want or need really mean. Like, I want to lose 15 pounds. I get that. Why do you want to lose 15 pounds? What's that going to do to you? Because really the focus shouldn't be the 15 pounds. Mm-hmm. Improve your confidence, in social situations, intimately, like wherever, professionally, at work. That's a big place. People don't even realize that that's missing. Peace of mind. Will it make you feel better? That's what you want. You want to feel better. I think that's what, and we get that all the time. People who come to us, they're like, I got to lose 30 pounds.
Like, why?
Yeah.
There's got to be so much deeper reasons than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is one of my favorites that I've heard is when I walk into the room, I don't want to be the center of attention for the wrong reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was one of my favorites I've heard. And that was just recently.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And they don't realize so much of that is not their actual body, right? But their body language, right? You walking in that room feeling damn good about yourself, right? That's a different presence, right? Than walking in the room. You can have the best body in the world. You walk in the room feeling like, you got dragged behind the bus. That's what people are really noticing.
Right.
So yeah, I just wanted to kind of reframe what it is we're really doing here. You're not just hell bent over this number on a scale.
Yes.
Right? We're creating a life of everyday confidence and stability, peace of mind, acceptance, gratitude, empowerment, right? All these big words, right? But that's what we're really after. It's a lifetime. It's not just like this number that we want to have by, June.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Very well put.
All kinds of other things, right?
Very, very well put.
Yeah, thank you. There's so many other things. We're creating longer lives. We're creating the ability to keep up with our kids, or whatever it might be, to love ourselves, right? Allows us to love others and to have deeper relations. I mean, it just gets so deep, and we're tied to like the number. I think it's just unfortunate, but we all do it, right?
Yep.
You and I do it, but we have to, I do it, but I don't stay there.
Right. We have things set in place, routines, if you will, to keep us moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people will take this information, and run with it and make the changes. And that's a big part of why we do what we do. Like that's our emotional attachment, right? That's our big why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I know it can be tough for a lot of people to make changes and to feel like they're supported and have the accountability, and those things can go a long ways.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's why we're here, right? That's
Yeah.
why we're doing this each week, sometimes twice a week. Don't hesitate to reach out to any of us.
100%.
Yeah, we're here and we're happy to help and encourage and support, and we enjoy doing it.
Don't be shy about that. A lot of people, like, we hear it all the time. Like, I didn't want to bother you. What the hell? You can bother me.
Bother us.
That's what I want, right? That's why we're doing it. That's the stuff that fulfills us. But I think tying that back into.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say tying that back into habits and routines, right? Staying emotionally connected is so important to that, right? And I think also, like, when we talk about goals, having a goal of losing weight, right, has us like running toward this number, right, doing all the I'm trying not to swear, doing all this stuff, right, working out 8 days a week for 4 hours a day and eating all the crap, right? I'm going to get to that number, and it's not going to stick. That's the reality, right? That's not a routine. That's an event, right? Health is a path. It's not a place. And I think when we do those things, the reasons that we do them are the things that suffer when we fall off, right? Your confidence gets crushed when you do something super hard. I'm going to get on those 6-week challenge, like work out for 3 hours a day and eat this crap meal plan, right? You do this super hard thing. You suffer and suffer and suffer. You get what you want, and then it's taken away. And you learn that no matter how hard you work, you don't get what you want. How soul crushing is that?
Very. And I know from personal experience, because I felt that way before I worked with you guys.
A lot of people do. Not fair.
Brandon, I just gotta say, man, you are like crushing it today. You're doing you're just full of all the right things, man. I love it. It's great.
I appreciate that.
I can see how
I get so much of it from you.
I was going to say, when you mentioned people reaching out to you earlier, that's the whole reason we do this, is you're not bugging us, you're not bothering us. And, I was one of those people who I went through all kinds of programs. I knew what I needed to eat. I knew what I needed to avoid. I knew I needed to move. I knew I needed to do cardio. I knew all the things I needed to do in general, but I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the motivation. And, if you're not setting yourself up with routines and doing it consistently, you don't see results, and then you get defeated. And if it's just you against the world, that's pretty defeating. So if you're out there feeling the same way and listening to all this and going, God, I want to implement that, but I don't even know where to start. That's kind of the reason we created the Clean Club. And I can't say enough how excited I am for routines, because I need to get back to my routines, and I'm noticing some things are going as a result. And right now, obviously it's March 1st, so we're jumping into the first week, and all we're discussing and talking about is setting routines for success, why they're important that you set routines for yourself, make those changes over time, and figure out what is going to work for you in the long run. And I'm really excited that we're doing this with our group in March. And so you need to come over here to the Clean Club and do this. I mean, you get workouts, you get motivation. We do coaching calls with you. So you actually get coaching from all three of us, and we're always available. We respond to your posts, to your messages, and it's less than a gym membership. So you get way more for way less. It makes sense that you should just come here and let us help you set yourself up for success.
Totally. And I appreciate you guys like kind of getting me out of my shell with this and talking about it, right? You guys told me recently like we can't help people with things if with our stuff if they don't know that it exists. So yeah, that is what we're doing, and we are super proud of it because it is just it's tremendous.
Yeah, it's
So if you
probably there's so many resources, there's so many things that, and for such a good price, like
it's
kind of a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things we hear that keeps people from getting into routines is what workout should I do? What should I eat? Right? What's a good recipe? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, the list goes on. Like,
how do I stay on the wagon?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Well, that's where the community and the guidance comes from right there. Like, be in the place where other people are doing the same thing. And you can ask questions and people, somebody who knows will give you an answer. I think that's missing from all of our not all of our lives, but so many of our lives.
What?
It's like, where's our tribe? Right.
Well, and honestly, when you help another person out, I know that when I contribute a piece of advice or post a picture of a workout that I did or a meal that I made, and you hear people say, "Oh, that helped me," and "Thank you for that. You inspired me." I get something out of that when I'm actually doing something to help another person that's also helping myself. So that's the cool part about what we do in our community over there in Clean Club is we're all here to help each other, not just to preach and give you info and then run away. We're all here to help each other.
Exactly right. Yeah, I was gonna say a little something, but you guys did such a good job.
Oh, sorry, Nick.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm honestly, that's what it's about. You guys hit the nail on the head. It's about community. It's about lifting each other up. It's about being lifted up if you need it. It's about all the things: inspiration, accountability, making things click.
Yeah,
falling into a routine, right?
Yeah. Being immersed in it, right?
Yep. Surround yourself with people who are just trying to do the exact same things you're trying to do, and you'll be much more successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Find your tribe.
Yep.
And that is us. We want to be that tribe. Yeah. So if that's of any interest to you, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't, reach out to us and we're happy to have a conversation and tell you more, but we'd love to have you with us.
Yep. And for those of you who are already in there, glad you're here.
We love you. Yeah. You guys are doing a great job.
Yes. Some of the good posts I've been seeing the last few days.
Oh, man. Yeah, sure. Definitely sharing and sharing your experience with other people, I think is the biggest part.
Yep.
All right. Are we out of here?
We're out of here.
I think we're out of here. All right, guys.
Ready.
We will be reaching out if you reached out to us. So expect messages, and if you've raised your hand, we like to connect with people. If you want to keep lurking, that's fine. You can do that too. But we love to have conversations, and so
can't help if we don't know.
Exactly. So do that, you guys, in wherever you are connected to us and whatever your little tribe is. Yeah. Keep lifting each other up, keep sharing your experience with people, and allow yourself to be lifted up as well. And let's all walk each other home. Right. Absolutely. I'll talk to you guys soon.